Public observations. Are they important? Extremely. Forecasting centers rely heavily on public obs, as forecasters cannot be everywhere all at once. These are usually underfunded, overworked people that are just trying to provide the best public product every day. Public obs are extremely important for them to formulate their forecast. If you've seen an avalanche or saw something worthwhile, post about it. Post it on the public obs page. If you have a local Instagram page that reposts observations, send it to them. I know in Utah we have a local Instagram, Utah Aviobs, that posts people's Instagram posts, and I know the forecasters look at it and investigate and will follow up with folks when they see it. So what are the do's and don'ts of public observations? And this will matter to some people, this won't matter to some people, but I find it's really critical. The yes pleases and the no pleases. Yes please, we want relevant data in your public ops. We want it to be short and sweet. Images or videos of avalanches and weather that you experience are great, and a detailed description of what you saw is critical. However, the no pleases are irrelevant information. We don't want to know that your morning started at 6 a.m. and you slammed 3 cups of coffee and you watched some Cody Townsend videos to get psyched. You don't need to give us that. We don't want longer epic tales. You can save those for the bar. That is not the time to write huge sweeping paragraphs of data or of information in there, just explaining every nitpicking detail. We don't need vague information. We don't need to say we saw an avalanche on north facing, or we saw 3 avalanches in White Pine. What aspect? What elevation? What was the trigger? Were they natural? How old were they? Don't give us just vague information. Do not spray. Do not make a public observation because you skied a really hard line or you got to ski first tracks on it and you want to put photos up with it. That's not the place for it. Put it on your Instagram. And definitely don't put 360 GoPro videos of you shredding. That's, as cool as they are sometimes, not the place for the public observations. So when we're submitting a public ob, what do we do? What do we include? Well, if it depends on what we're seeing. So if we have an avalanche or we see some avalanches, maybe that we're not involved in, we name the size, the type, location, range, the aspect, elevation, and what was the trigger? Was it natural or artificial? If we are in an avalanche accident, maybe write down the amount of people involved, recognized errors that occurred, and all of the above of what is included for the avalanche report. So size, type, location, aspect, elevation, trigger. And then for weather observations, you don't always have to see an avalanche to make a public ob. You could say, oh, hey, I saw a bunch of really hardcore wind going on at upper elevations in this drainage. So just name the type, the timing, the intensity, the duration, and the location of that wind. And for snowpack observations, say you're digging a snow pit, make note of the snow depth, the layer depth that you've seen, layer types, crystal ID if you can. What's that layer made up of? Is it a persistent weak layer? Location in the range, elevation, and the aspects. And finally, always mention your results. If you do an extended column test, make sure that you put it in there that you did one if you got good results. So what did we cover? We covered the avalanche forecast, what are they, and how to read them. North American Danger Scale, deciphering the colors and the meanings behind it, behind likelihood and size, distribution, and travel suggestions. And then how do we contribute to public observations, the do's and don'ts. And finally, we went over a couple avalanche forecasts for different regional centers.